Right, so who'd like to go first with a question then? I think Reese is bouncing up and down. I think we need to go with Reese.
Which one do you want to do? Want to do the second one? Okay, you ready? Your best reading voice. My
favourite colour is red.
Was
Your favourite colour to ride in.
So Reese's favourite colour is red. What was your favourite colour to ride in?
My favourite colours to ride in were pink. Pink with green spots were my favourite colours to ride in. Sir Anthony has turned up eventually. Nice of you to join us, AP.
I wore pink just for Ruby. I haven't got green spots on, but I've got pink.
He's a pink shirt on.
I knew they were his favourite colours, Reese. And, I thought, it's best to keep Ruby happy, Reese, because he's a grumpy old man. So...
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us. For your benefit, I'll just run through who everybody is again, AP.
Thank you.
So we've got Evie, and I was just saying that she's one of our amazing WellChild Award winners and a youth ambassador, and she is also Horse and Hounds Amateur Rider of the Decade, which is fantastic.
That's brilliant. That's something Ruby and I have never been anyway, that's for sure.
I said the very same thing, AP.
Thank you.
We never got anything off Horse and Hound.
Yeah.
And then we've got Reese and Naomi, and Reese has got 3 ponies of his own, and they're supported by one of our WellChild nurses.
One minute back when we only have 2, but we're getting another one.
Yeah.
That makes 3.
Well done.
Very good, Reese.
And then last but not least, we've got Neris and Toby, and Toby is our incredible drawing competition winner, and Mum is a family of our WellChild family tree.
Brilliant. Well done with the drawing, Toby. It was amazing. Definitely better than Ruby or I could have done, that's for sure.
So we're just going through some questions, and Reese asked a great one, as you heard. Who'd like to go next with a question?
I don't mind.
Don't be shy. Go for it, Neris.
Is there a horse or event you wish you could have ridden?
Yeah, I'd love to have ridden Istabrak. I think he was the best hurdler I ever saw. And I'd love to have had a go on him. He was incredible. AP got lots of goals, the good ones I rode. Didn't win on many of them, but he had a few goals in some of them.
Oh, I won a couple of them. I got beaten a couple of them. I got beaten Cotto Star, which is the best horse that's ever been really in my time. So I managed to get beaten a lot of very good horses. What I would really like to have ridden Desert Orchid. A little bit before my time. He was the same colour as Ruby. He was grey. He had much more about him than Ruby. He was very flamboyant. He was very lovable. Everyone liked him, and he was a brilliant horse. He was just brilliant to watch. He was just a little bit before my time, but and Ruby's. But he was a very, very popular racehorse, and I think it would have been nice to have ridden him.
He was our favourite.
Yeah.
Good.
You wouldn't know who he is.
I'd like to have ridden Desert Orchid. I think it'd have been
And then Evie, have you got a question?
Okay, so what values do you think your career has kind of given or taught you the most?
Ooh, that's a very good question. What has it taught me? It taught me everything. It gave me everything I have. What did it teach me? I think it taught me to keep getting back up, to keep trying and keep going again. That people will always forgive you for your mistakes. And if you keep trying, you'll eventually get to where you want to go. I think racing taught me to keep trying and keep going again, and gives everyone a second chance, which I think was fabulous.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. I lost about 14,000 times, so I made a lot of mistakes. Definitely didn't have the talent that Ruby has.
I don't know about that.
So I probably, I think what Ruby will say the same as I. It teaches you. It taught me to have discipline. It taught me how to work. It taught me, like Ruby said, it gave me everything, and I feel very privileged to have lived the life I have through racing. So we're very lucky, because you dream of being in somewhere like Cheltenham as a young boy, and you think, God, will I ever get to? Your first thing is, I'd love to actually ride a horse in Cheltenham, and then once you've done that, then the thing changes, and you want to obviously ride better horse, and you want to ride winners, and I think it look, we're very lucky, both of us. It give us everything. So
This one.
Wonderful. I know all of you have got loads of questions. So does Reese want to ask another question?
Yeah, go on then. When
When
ride
my
is really fast, how fast was fastest horse? So when Reese rides his pony, Harry is really fast. How fast was your fastest horse?
Oh, what's the fastest horse I rode? I'd say AP rode faster ones than me. He used to work for Jim Bulger on the flat when he was young, so he would have ridden some really fast ones that could probably do close to 40 miles an hour. He might remember some of those. They're really fast ones. I used to have a really fast pony as well, and he was chestnut, so we called him after a really fast racehorse called a Razzie. So we had a pony called a Razzie. I used to love riding him. He was quick.
yeah, I rode when I was in Jim Bulger's, when I was a lot younger and a lot lighter, not as fat as I am now. I rode a very fast horse called Mr. Brooks, who ended up winning a July Cup, I think, back in probably early 90s.
74 or 5.
A long time ago. So, but unfortunately, Reese, I rode a lot of very slow horses as well. So more slow horses.
We have a slow horse, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have big hooves.
It's got big hooves.
Big hooves, yeah.
Cyril is
Big
very
hooves
slow,
need
isn't
big
he?
shoes.
Yeah, he can't even jump.
Can't
Can't
jump.
jump.
We rode
Your
lots of
horse
them
can.
as well, don't worry.
Neris, has Toby got some other questions?
Yeah, so I had to think about what sort of question I think a 5-year-old would ask.
You're
And
talking to the right fellas.
go with the superhero theme because WellChild children are all superheroes. So I thought he might want to ask, if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I'd say Ruby'd like to be the Invisible Man. No.
Yeah. Sometimes, if I had a superpower, what would I like to do? I'd love to be able to see into the future. I'd love to know what was coming. If I had a superpower, that's what it would be.
Yeah. I'd like to be a superpower to be Benjamin Button, to go back in time and have another go. I think that would be quite cool. I think I'd be a little bit better the next time, hopefully.
Evie, have you got another question you'd like to ask?
Yeah, so of course I've followed racing for a number of years and love it anyways, and know a lot about you guys anyway, so I'm not a stalker, but what are your biggest tips for dealing with setbacks and how to turn that into a comeback?
I think you have to, and I know about it more than most people, and one of the biggest setbacks I ever had in my life happened just about there somewhere, behind that hurdle. You have to pick yourself up.
Forget about it.
Yeah, get over it eventually. No, you have to, I think, look at your mistake, accept your mistake, and take any lesson you can from it, so you try not to let it happen again. But you cannot change the past. You can only affect the future. So you have to move forward, because what's gone is gone and it can't be changed.
Yeah, I rode for a very good trainer once called Martin Pipe, and he told me the definition of stupidity was doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So Ruby's right, just about learning from your mistakes and don't make the same ones again. And I suppose people who are lucky enough to be good at what they do, they make less mistakes than everyone else, or they learn from the mistakes they do make and try not to make them again.
I think a huge thing too is the past can't be changed. So leave it behind you and keep looking forward, because what's back there is back there.
What's happened in the past can't be changed.
No, thank you.
Evie, you've got a great motto that you use, haven't you?
Yeah, so we started saying it when I was around 12 years old, and we were literally going. Mum was picking me up from hospital in the horse box to go show jumping that weekend. And I wasn't very well. My doctors probably thought we were crazy, but we began saying, find a way, not an excuse. And since then, it's kind of become our motto that we live by each day to keep us going and continue doing things that are probably a little bit crazy, but definitely worthwhile.
It's a chance, Evie, you have an outlook. We could all do it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Has anyone else got any other questions?
Question.
Reese definitely has.
Yeah.
Always. So, do you want me to ask? So you like riding bareback, don't you?
Do you like bareback?
I used to be able to when I was younger and I was fitter, but I do a little bit with my girls now, and they're much better at it than I am now. I used to be able to, not much good at it anymore.
Yeah, I'd be a bit like Ruby. I'd need all the help I can get. I need saddles there to hold up for me to stay on. I don't think I'll be able to stay on too long bareback.
Oh, you like riding Harry bareback, don't you?
Everyone should be taught to ride that way.
It's an age thing, Reese. That's what it is. It's an age thing.
Neris, do you have anything else you want to ask?
Oh, no, why?
You can't ride them at the moment.
No one.
Or do you have any superstitions? Do you have any lucky pants or socks or rituals?
Lucky pants.
I used to, people used to believe there was luck in old things. I actually turned it the other way and thought I had luck with new things. So I'd always use a new pair of goggles or a new gloves when I was riding a big horse or a big race. But then they got beaten as well. So I kind of thought, well, if I'm relying on the new goggles to make the horse win, it's not really going to happen, is it? So that kind of was the end of the superstitions for me a good few years ago.
That's an expensive habit.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
That's more of the reason he changed it, Evie. Don't kid yourself. That's more of the reason he gave up that habit. He don't like spending it. That's why. He thought this is too expensive.
What about you, AP?
No, I was like you. I used to think I had when I was younger, and then I used to realise I still managed to get beaten on no matter what I did. So I give it up. I give it up being superstitious probably after a few years. Then I realised it's not. I don't believe in. It's either going to happen or it's not. I don't think that. I was not superstitious. I realised it didn't work after a while.
Evie, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, so of course you've both had really, really colourful careers, but how do you deal with the contrast of retirement? Although you're still doing stuff, how's that differed and changed, and how do you feel about the sport now?
Some of us are dealing with it better than others. How do we deal with it? I don't know. I'll never get over not winning. I still want to win things, but to win you have to put in all the effort that goes with it, and I'd had enough of putting in all the rest of that effort. So retirement to me was about the same as the previous question you asked. My career was in the past. It was about looking forward. What's next? Loads of great memories, but it's about the future, and that's how I moved on. AP, I hope we have enough time now as he explains to us how he's dealing with retirement.
I'm actually better than people think, Evie.
He is now.
I have had moments. I realised that someone told me once that a sports person is the only one that dies twice, and I kind of get that, because it's all you ever want to do as a kid. Like you get to really live the dream, and no matter what you do for the rest of your life, you could become. It's very, very highly unlikely that Ruby and I are going to become the next Jeff Bezos who owns Amazon, or or Elon Musk.
Speak for yourself.
No matter what you do, is never going. You're never going to have 60 or 70,000 people watching you perform in the big stage, and but if you're as good as what Ruby is, you actually believe you get better when that amount of people are watching you. And that
you hear him. You're as good as me now, so we'll move on there.
So so I'm okay with it. I'm very lucky. I have no regrets, and I'd love to do it again, but we're very lucky that we can come here and watch, and a reason to come here and a purpose to be here. So we're very blessed.
Yeah. Did you want one more question?
Go for it, Reese.
So Reese, what do you want to ask about your karate? So Reese loves horse riding, and every spare moment he'll spend on his horse. However, he's also got another hobby, which is karate.
And I am a orange belt.
And an orange belt. Have you got any other hobbies as well as horse riding? Wasn't it?
I play golf, like I'm playing, like I'm doing karate. My golf is that bad, but I think my hobby now is 4 girls that are into ponies. So if I'm not racing, it has something to do with ponies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same. I have a little girl who's mad into show jumping. She's 13. And my little boy Archie is 7. He likes golf as well, Reese. So he does. I love golf too. I kind of like boxing. I'd always like to. I'd like to have been able to box when I was younger. So
boxing.
I'd like to have been able to box. So I like that, Reese. That's exactly it. So yeah,
boxing is close to karate.
Close to karate. Yeah, I think you have to be fitter nearly to be karate. You'd be really dangerous at karate. I'd be worried about fighting you. I wouldn't like to fight you, Reese. Not doing karate. You're like the Karate Kid.
You are like the Karate Kid, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Easy on. I was only joking, Reese.
Maniac.
Does anyone else have anything they want to ask? And Ruby or AP, do you have anything you might want to ask the children and young people?
Yeah.
I do, Naomi. Well, for you, you're a bit older, obviously. How did you find the, I suppose, mental strength to cope with the situation you're in and achieve so much, right? Where did the support come from? Who helped you, and how did you do it yourself?
Yeah, so it's hard. When Reese got poorly, he spent 2 years on life support in London. And my husband actually worked overseas, so when Reese first got poorly, he didn't come home for 4.5 months. He was in the army, wasn't he? But people just come out of the woodwork, like WellChild. I've never heard of them. They came out the woodwork. Friends that I hadn't spoken to for years came out the woodwork, and it's just the support, and it's the joy that you get from them. Reese is full on. He doesn't actually give me a spare moment to do any negative thinking. No. We do feel very privileged that we've got a fantastic boy. We've got so much support around us from different people. I'm into horses, and the fact that Reese likes horses is a mum's dream, really, isn't it? Because it'd be worse if he was into motor car racing. So that would be pretty dull. So yeah, it's just the charities that come out the woodwork and friends, and we get through it. It's all right.
Brilliant. Very well done.
Yeah, incredible.
I think that Reese and Naomi have to leave in a few minutes, don't you? Because Reese has got a virtual hospital appointment soon.
You have, haven't you? You've got to go and see your London consultants. Are you a dog? We're going to say a big thank you. No, not as a dog. Listen, as a boy, you say a very big thank you.
You're very welcome, Reese.
Okay, and say have a good day.
Thank you.
No, thank you ever so much. We really appreciate you giving up your time.
Not at all. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay. And thank you, Catherine.
No problem. It's lovely to see you again. And we'll see you again soon. Have a lovely day, Reese.
Thank you. See you later, alligator.
So, Evie and Neris, do either of you have any more questions or anything you might like to talk about?
Oh, sorry.
No, you go first. I'll wait.
I just wondered if the horses seem to notice that the crowds aren't there, do they seem to perform better when there's a crowd cheering, or do you think it's not made any difference?
Bit of both, I'd say. AP, would you? Some horses manage to stay calmer and are probably performing better, and then some of the older ones that could do with a bit of atmosphere are probably underperforming. That's kind of the way I see it. What would you think, AP?
Yeah, I think so. The younger horses probably wouldn't have much experience in big crowds, so you don't really know with them. But some of the older horses might not have shown much form. They might have got a little bit little bit lazy, if you like, or they like to look, that maybe don't, and then they come here and the big crowds wake them up and they get excited and it brings a new lease of life to them. So I think for some of those it's probably more of a disadvantage to having no crowds here, because I do think you get horses that probably perform better here when there's a lot of noise and vice versa. But yeah, for the younger horses, we wouldn't really know.
Is that the same for the jockeys as well?
I say so, yeah.
Yeah, I often said to people about sports people, like some are better at coping at big stages, and I often I think the analogy I use the most is Frankie Dettori goes to Royal Ascot, and Frankie Dettori genuinely believes that everyone's there to watch him. Do you know what I mean? He actually thinks that he doesn't actually realize that there's actually other jockeys and other people there. He just goes into Ascot and thinks, oh yeah, they're all here to see me, including the Queen. Do you know what I mean? But he loves. He's better on the bigger stage. He performs better. I don't know. It's just a statistical fact that he just, when he gets a winner on the board and everyone's cheering for him, then he just thinks he's able to fly. You know what I mean? And then he just milks it, and he's brilliant at it. But the bigger crowds, I think, the more people watching Frankie Dettori, the better he is.
Wonderful. I think, should we have one final question from Evie, and then we'll probably have to wrap up because you guys are probably extremely busy.
Okay, so biggest tip for someone like me who's obviously, I'm in and out of hospital and I'm gonna struggle riding anyway, but I love it and I do it for the fun. What's your biggest tip for the future for like competing and just trying to be your best?
I think if you're physically fit, as in active, keep as active as you can be. If you physically stay active, you will find riding easy or a little easier. I thought there was Rachel Blackmore going by. I was going to grab her to say hello to you.
Yeah, to be fair, she'd be a lot easier to look at than us, to be fair.
She would, yeah.
A lot more interesting as well.
Yeah, if you can physically stay as fit and active as you can, if you're physically fit and have strength in your legs, the actual act of riding horses is pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and I always thought when I started off wanting to be a jockey, I always looked at the best jockey, and I just, like Richard and Woody before Ruby and I's time was, he was the champion jockey when I came to the UK first, and I used to watch him. I used to watch everything he did. I used to nearly stalk him and think, because I wanted to know why he was better than everyone else. He was different. He was tough. He was different in a lot of ways. But I learned a lot from Richard and Woody, and I think just try and watch the best. Just try and watch the best people, and you'll pick up little tips that'll, try and be like them, and then just try and be better than them. But I think you enjoy watching the best people too. I enjoy watching them. So even if I can't do it, I enjoy watching them.